So we have here 3 members of Unite for Truth, and I just want to ask them a couple of questions about their actions and, mainly the purpose of doing these things and what they hope to achieve with them and how they expect to cooperate with other people and other groups. So I would start first with you, Andy, as you've been more in charge with the relations with the other groups and people, about, I don't know, the core ideas, that animate this group.
Aye. Well, the core ideas for Unite for Truth is to engage in action and to facilitate other people engage in action as well. So we've had a lot of joy in that of late, and actually in doing these actions it really brings home the core message of what we're trying to do, because ultimately it's about small groups of people working together in order to try and achieve an impact. We do that as a small group and we enjoy it, I think. Meet once a week. But of late we've been interacting with more groups, like you mentioned, Simona, and that's been great as well, because there's been so many great actions and great work happening of late all over Scotland, from Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dundee, and there's a real feeling just now that many people are trying to step forward to do action. And I'd say the core value in that is a spiritual and a moral duty. That's what we feel, Unite for Truth. There is a spiritual component to this, so although we're small in our own group and we're interacting with other people who are without a doubt a minority in society, although we're small, our actions can have massive impact. So we hope that people are seeing what we're doing, and I just want to acknowledge the great work being done by many people that's unseen, because we know that there's a lot of people behind the scenes. So but I'd say the main kind of focus of the group at this time is actions. Do you think, Ashleigh?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the small groups have happened organically, like it's not been accidental that there's so many small groups within the movement, and I feel like it really helps when it comes to action, having lots of different groups doing their own thing, and it also gives each other ideas of stuff that they can be doing. When another group has had success, the other groups can follow suit and try the same things and coordinate a bit better to do actions together in different locations all at the one time. And I feel like having so many small groups as well helps people to connect with each other and like form better relationships within the groups. It creates trust, it makes them like work together well and stuff like that. So I feel like it's not an accident at all that there's so many small groups in the movement. I feel like it's a blessing that there is. People are finding their families and finding friendships within these times, and now that we've got so many small groups, it's time to work together and try and facilitate really good action that could potentially change the course that we're on.
So what would be the main purpose of these actions, in small groups and collectively?
The main purpose for me would be to become visible to the public. Like, I want it to be normalised for people like myself to be out in public, like to be normal, and so that people see us, and if they see us more often, they'll not feel so alone in what we're thinking about what's going on right now. It won't be just this random wee group of anti-vaxxers. You'll see them in all different towns all over the country doing lots of different actions, and it might bring other people out and give other people more confidence as well, because if they see it more often, they want to get more involved.
I actually had an experience of that today. We were at the local primary school and there was a few parents that said, good for you, well done, and that
Wonderful.
felt great, because they're not expecting that, to pick up their child from school and to see us there and to be well received. So I think that gets across Ashleigh's point that if people see us and see that we're doing these actions, and then if we can hand them a leaflet to say, listen, keep in touch with us, then potentially we're not just spreading awareness but getting people involved. And I'd like to add that on to Ashleigh's point. I think she's dead right, it's about spreading awareness, but I sometimes think about it as there's two audiences. There's the people who aren't aware, and that's who we're trying to spread the awareness with. But for those who are aware, we're trying to provide a pathway into action. So at Unite for Truth, we publicise what we do, we try and present it in the right way, and this is in the hope that people see it, just like Ashleigh says, they become more aware, but hopefully they become involved as well.
So Lee, who do you think we are fighting against? Or against what? From your perspective, as a representative of the youngest ones among us,
Yeah, I would say a really dark power at the moment. A lot of bad energy, and really have a dark agenda and one goal. But I feel like we can forget about who's really doing it and empower our own. Build communities, become engaged with the public. Again, create a community and kind of work together. But empowering a human being, we're all humans, empower each other, make ourselves feel better. And like Ashleigh said, it's like a second family almost, when you connect with other people and you meet so many walks of life. So I feel like the bad energy can be put aside with empowerment and good energy from all walks of life,
So you think, you think that this better spirit that we are sharing is the real conqueror in this fight, or is just...
Without a doubt. I would say we were buzzing today, weren't we, after that primary school? So we had positive exchanges, we gave leaflets out to a lot of parents, not all great experiences when you're interacting with the public, but that goes with the territory. But after each of these actions, the sense of uplifting that you feel, and I was wondering as I was coming away from the primary school, why is that? Why is it such a thing that does require a bit of courage? Why is it so uplifting? I think it is because we are speaking the truth. And I think when you come away from the experience having spoken the truth and having done the right thing, it's tremendously uplifting, and what I'm seeing develop is a real sense of camaraderie between the people that meet up. You get to know the faces, how you doing, and it would be wonderful, especially coming into winter, if we could turn each action into a wee social event, not too social because then the action won't get done, but things like soup and hot chocolate and coffee, because I feel I don't know how you feel about this Ashleigh, but it's like the small groups that they're all working together just now. We're trying to raise awareness, but as the nature of the challenge changes, these small groups are going to perform different functions. It might not be sharing leaflets, it might be tins of beans soon. It might be.
Right.
I feel like
or tips for survival and healing also. Yeah.
I feel like the work that we do now, I feel like it does form better relationships, especially see when you're finding courage with other people to go and do these actions, because it's not always easy. You need to dig deep to find courage to go out. You don't know what to expect when you're out doing actions. Like, majority of the times it is really good, it's well received by the public, but it's still a challenge, and when you've got this camaraderie with other people, and you're all out doing this thing with each other, it does help build each other up, and you feel like you're more connected to other people. So moving forward into the future, you've already got this group of friends that you trust. And it will really, I feel like it would really help in the future, especially when stuff might not be as easy as it is just now. Going through winter, we might find other challenges, especially the vaccine passports, and we might need to rely on each other for business and things like that. And if we can support each other with our businesses and go to each other for services, it will help everybody.
So do you believe that it would be useful to encourage people in general who are aware and awake to gather in small groups like this and befriend and start doing really intensively things together?
The thing is, a lot of people don't necessarily want to be as active as us, or they don't want their face to be out there, but there is a lot of other roles that people can have within the movement. See something as simple as sending emails for the comfort of your home, or sending like notices of liability to the school or your counsellors and stuff like that, or there's a lot of things that people can do. They don't necessarily need to come out on the street with us, but I feel as if finding like a stand in the park, for instance, would really benefit somebody to go and maybe like find new relationships with people, and even to have people to speak to about this stuff, and I know a lot of people have lost like friends and family who aren't on the same page as them, so I feel like it's really good for people's mental health to get out and communicate a lot of these things with other like-minded people.
That's a good point to do with communication, because we all seen the other night Facebook went down for almost 6 hours, and it made me think a lot about communication when we were talking within the group about that. And it's almost like the small groups that are forming just now are forming at exactly the right time, because in the event that we can't communicate digitally, what networks do we have in place? So it's wonderful to see so many actions taking place, because that's so many small groups. And I think we're going to be forced through perhaps our own exclusion from the digital world. We're going to be forced from being in large Telegram groups, which are digital and non-face-to-face, into small groups, which are face-to-face and kind of close networks. And I think that would be a very welcome thing. I feel like if perhaps earlier we had maybe more small, cohesive, active groups performing actions, then more people would be aware. I think we've maybe spent too much time in Telegram, and that this kind of movement towards smaller, cohesive groups meeting up in the real world, maybe that's overdue.
Aye. I would just like to jump back to the point of feeling good about speaking the truth, and I feel like a lot of folk know the truth but don't want to speak it, and I feel like once you do, you really do feel a sense of greatness, and you're benefiting people's lives by producing that truth. And it's down to an individual at the end of the day, you know, and if you feel like you're alone, you're definitely not. There's hundreds of thousands of us out there, alright? And if you don't want to go out on an individual basis and do action, then pair up with somebody even, you know, and do what you need to do, and connect through different groups and stuff. But I would, you know, teachers, healthcare, and other aspects as well. We need people to come out and speak the truth. This is urgency, absolutely. So I can just ask everybody out there that knows the truth what's happening to speak, to speak out.
Yeah.
This is the kids' futures, your own futures, rights and liberties that may never ever be given back. So that's our time.
We were talking about that the other day, about going through that process of sitting in your house wondering what can I do, to then meeting up with a group to then actually engaging in what we did today, which is handing out leaflets to parents. And me and Lee were having a conversation about how it becomes addictive. You know, we did one primary school, but it wasn't enough. You know, we were thinking, could we have done two? Because it's such a thing when you're there, we're all working together, we're spreading this awareness. It isn't always pleasant, but much of the time we feel galvanised by the spirit of what we're doing, and it quickly kind of catches on, doesn't it? You know, and I think that's the position we're in. We don't really have a choice in this, you know. Perhaps we would like to sit down and watch Netflix and relax, but we can't. We can't do it, you know.
So what would you say, any of you, that is the biggest threat, you know, to this, so to say, resistance movement, resistance to the anti-human regulations and laws and stuff? What is the biggest danger that threatens our movement and actions from the inside?
That's an excellent question.
I would like to say probably silence and compliance is the biggest two. Because you can all stand up for one of each other when we're in a big group, but it comes down to the individual again on a daily basis. Will you stand up for yourself, or are you going to comply because everybody else is? So I think silence and compliance for myself, and I feel is probably the biggest two.
See, I'll try and answer that one. I feel as if, on a personal level, I mean, we don't actually have we don't really have bad interactions with other people within the movement. I think the unity is there. I think that the cause of any kind of division comes from within. Like,
Exactly, that's what
so
I meant.
it doesn't matter what group somebody else is in. Like, I usually get along brilliant with everybody. Everybody's on the same page as me. Like, I feel a lot of love for them. I feel as if we're in this fight together, regardless of what group they're in. So I feel as if it comes down to each and every person to look inside, and if they're wanting unity in the movement, to to find where the division comes from within themselves.
Yeah.
Because it can be repaired by us all.
Aye.
And I think a lot of people want that to be like one huge group, which is ideal, especially if there's events or marches, but when it comes to the day-to-day action, we're engaging with the public, attending schools,
Aye.
handing in notices of liability, it's got a much bigger impact when we've got lots and lots of really small, cohesive groups that have got great communication within themselves. So.
Yeah, and we're all, as a nation, we're Scottish, but you know, deep within, we're all human beings across the entire planet.
That's the point.
Brilliant minds, brilliant, beautiful people. So, bringing that together, you can create and do so much. You know. So,
I think that's an excellent
So
point.
don't you think that these small groups can promote a renewed spirit, of brotherhood and friendship that is not possible in the big ones, where you need a certain degree of control and organize, and every voice can count,
100%.
and every contribution is valued in this.
Yeah.
I think this is important.
I
Yeah.
feel as if I never found my place in the movement until I joined a group. And I was always somebody that was really independent. I would go to any event regardless of where it was. I would go through Edinburgh, I'd go to George Square, I would go to the Green. Like I would jump about quite a lot, but I did feel a bit lost. I didn't know what my role was supposed to be within the movement. Like I lacked a bit of confidence. I didn't know if I could speak, for instance, or engage with the public. But it took for me to actually get involved with a group to find my potential. So I've then discovered that I can in fact go and engage with the public, and I found out that I can make things on the computer and design stuff and use some of my art experience for the past and bring some of that talent into the movement and in my own way. And I feel as if everybody in the movement does have a hidden talent and they'll be able to bring that forward to the movement. They've just not had the opportunity to find that yet.
Hi there.
Hi,
Hi
Julie.
Everybody, guys.
Hi, Linda.
How you doing, Julie? Good to see you.
Julie.
Signs.
Hi, I'm not gonna stop. Hi, bless you, Julie. This is something. This is something inspirational. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions also. I mean, people deserve to know.
This is United for Truth. You walk into an interview, right? That's what we do.
I have stayed at the roads.
I know.
Okay, I'll ask Linda then.
No, Linda doesn't maybe want to be.
No, Linda. Sorry, Julie.
What's that?
Come on, love.
Oh, do you want one?
I'll ask you. I'll ask you because you already have this experience of working with Hold the Line and
Yes.
really organizing stuff. So I'll ask you about Hold the Line and the group in general. And what do you think is more relevant, for your group right now in matters of actions? What is the priority
I think it's just getting information out there, to be fair.
to the people?
We need to get more people aware.
Uniting them.
Unite them. We need people together, not separated. And I mean, it's very difficult geographical.
Yeah.
The word is, right? But like up and down the country. So we've got groups all over the country, but trying to get one line from top to bottom, it's not really going to work.
No.
Aye.
So I mean, it's good to build everybody together, but
But at the same time, maybe try and keep that autonomy, because groups like Stand in the Park Drumbelia are doing absolutely fantastic
you're
work.
really good.
United for Truth,
good.
the Great Reopening, East Kilbride. There's fantastic examples of small groups, and if maybe one single group was to come in and try and, no, that's not necessary. There's so much to do and so many different actions that can take place that it's just a case of maybe proliferating and multiplying these actions rather than trying to,
I feel like a lot of the smaller groups are coming up with really original and organic ideas, and I think we can learn a lot from that, especially the action that we've seen in Edinburgh at the weekend.
Aye.
That had a great visual impact, and the girl's going to come through to Glasgow as well, so we're going to do something like that here. And we should actually just be sharing everybody's ideas, and we're going to find something that's really, really going to change it, and I'm sure it's going to come out with a small group. I'm sure of it.
Aye.
Without the thought of people thinking that somebody's hijacking something nothing to do with that. You know?
Aye.
The whole thing's so much bigger.
And you made
Yeah.
a point earlier about this is about all humanity, and sometimes we forget that. And sometimes when you're in a group, it's like, oh, that group and that group. It's like
Aye.
you're missing the point. You know,
The old spirit of competition and who's going to lead the movement.
It becomes silly, but I think what we're feeling everywhere is what we're seeing for the Stanley Park groups are now getting out into the street. There is a real feeling of urgency, and we need to just act. And it's going to happen. It's just happening organically.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So, what was the reaction of the public, you know, to your actions, the ones you've done outside in the street? What would you say about this?
So, I mean,
Super.
it's been so positive.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's folk that we didn't have before come to Stanley Park, and people asking to go into Telegram, and I'm just sharing and folk are now joining your groups, and it's just all about sharing information
Aye.
and getting people together.
I feel as if there's like, you need to find your courage to go out, but it's not what you expect. You expect it to be a lot harder out there. You expect to come into like maybe difficult situations where people will be argumentative, but the majority of people out there really do show us support what we're doing. The majority of people you speak to are against vaccinating the children, and they're against vaccine passports. So we are well received when we're out.
And I feel like a lot of people are actually thankful that there's people putting themselves out there, because they feel like they're afraid. There's a lot of people afraid. Even the people that are afraid to do action need to realise that the people you're going to try and give the information to are actually afraid. So they need and want people to be out there and see that there is a fight going on. You know.
I think especially with Facebook going down, it's an indication that things aren't going to be the same digitally in terms of censorship, so we need to be out there. And what we're seeing for the football fans is that with the vax passports coming in, or freedom passes coming in, that's a section of society that's kind of turning around each other and saying what's happening here. And as this thing moves on, there's going to be different areas of society, but if we're constantly pushing forwards and multiplying our actions, as people are waking up, they're seeing people like Lee and Ashleigh and Julie out there, and as they're waking up, then they've got, you know, people to go to.
It's just support. It's just support.
Like you said, being visible, you know, being dead visible all the time.
Yeah.
Just friendliness, that's it.
And I also think, you know, healthy people will be much needed to continue, you know, the economy and everything. You cannot amputate this segment of society, the people who have not taken this risky job, and expect society to go on as it should. A collapse would be unavoidable.
Yeah.
So people don't think much about this. It's very easy to have this childish opinion that, they're not like us. We can get rid of them or make abstraction of their existence. It doesn't work like this. We need to stay together. So the unity, in my view, has got a very important meaning at a national level. It's the unity between different people, like, you know, people with different opinions in matters of politics, vaccination, religion, everything. We all.
And it's like what Lee says earlier, we forget that this is about humanity, and sometimes we can look for unity between groups, but really, again, at that level of thinking, we're missing the point. We already are all in this together, and that's the thing I like to see. And you see a lot of stands in the park groups where there's a real spiritual component to it, because we're not just together in terms of humanity, but in a much deeper sense. This is always the case, but we forget it, you know, when it becomes a kind of a tribal thing when we talk about unity, and I think when it gets to that level, we're missing the point, you know.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's now time to reach out to people that have had the vaccine. I think it's time to create some unity with them, because I know the media and the establishment and the system really tells them that the unvaccinated people are the problem, but it won't be long if we follow the same track as Israel. The people that haven't had a certain booster then become unvaccinated, the same as us. That could happen in the UK.
Yeah, it will never be enough for the system.
The third booster will then be considered unvaccinated. We're the exact same boat as the rest of us. So we need that unity with them, because I know there's a lot of people that that had both doses of the vaccine maybe a few months ago, and now I feel like they thought that them getting that vaccine, everything would go back to normal.
I've got a few friends like that.
Yeah.
And now they're not taking the booster.
Yeah, they were promised by Matt Hancock 6 months ago that children would not be getting the vaccine.
True.
So it's all these broken promises. I mean, it went from vaccinating the elderly and the vulnerable to open everything back up to, and now we're at vaccinating the children.
Yeah.
And
mandating the vaccine for whole sectors and
you've got like care home staff in England who are going to lose their job as of November because they've not had the vaccine, even though they've worked through this full thing, caring for people just as well as
yesterday's heroes.
Caring for people,
Furloughs ended as well. With furlough ending, you've got the economic pressure and
£20 off for the universal credit book and all. You know, I mean, they'll be up. I mean, they will genuinely be up in arms. Because everything's just went up. Food prices, petrol. Everybody sees petrol, but like living costs is just astronomical.
Yeah.
It's maybe things seem harder and darker than ever, but it's maybe more than ever we need to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and providing each other support.
So if there's anybody out there that's had the vaccine and they don't agree with the vaccine passport or the child vaccinations, and they don't agree with how things are going, they can still come to your side and they can still help out. Just because I've had the vaccine doesn't mean they can't come and join us, because we've all got the same problem. We all share the same problem, which is the governments and the people that pull the strings in this society in different countries.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer again, isn't it? And it gets that way, you're right to raise this, Ashleigh, it gets that way you forget a wee bit about the vaccinated, and you speak to the unvaccinated, and we start to do that ourselves, where we divide society in two, and that's you're right to raise that.
Yeah, because even though like we might not be allowed into certain establishments because we've not had a vaccine, these people have still suffered just as much as we have, even though they went for the vaccine.
Probably
they still
more.
suffered at the hands of the lockdowns in the past. I mean, they've still had elderly relatives imprisoned in care homes in the past. So everybody in this country and the other countries have all suffered just the same. So it's time to unite against the people that are causing the suffering.
So what do you think groups like ours, including yours, Julie, and any other, can offer to these people that have not joined us, like the vaccinated ones?
I would say just act as humanly as possible, treat them with respect, and everything that you
No, but what can we offer to them?
Well, the truth, awareness.
The truth.
We can give them a whole different aspect. And, you know, we get called crazy and everything because we're giving out information that's never been published before or told unless you look deeper. So
the mainstream media,
you know, we need to just give them the information that they need to make them feel welcome, not to feel like they're not wanted because they've had a vaccination. You know, there's so many ways that we can bring them in, but it's whether or not they want to be accepted at the end of the day as well.
Is there anything that we can offer them in order to help them if they have health issues or, you know, psychological problems? Or
I think maybe we've got a collective responsibility to do that, but in terms of something off the top of my head that could be useful, on the Unite for Truth website is an entire page dedicated to solutions and remedies for those that are suffering adverse reactions to vaccinations. So maybe that's something that will develop as we move into the winter. But in terms of what we can offer people, I think this is something we often talk about, and I'm sure you feel the same, Julie. We're small groups and we've got lives and we're busy. We've only got so much capacity to do what we do, and I think with the groups, the function of the groups is to facilitate action in others, and that's the same with the vaccinated that are coming. So what we should have ready is a website. You've been damaged, now pursue that. Okay, now's a legal course of action where you can try and raise awareness for your MP. And it's really for the groups, I feel, for the vaccinated and unvaccinated, it's providing pathways towards action. That's what the groups are for, really, and to support each other as well. So I think that would still hold true even with the vaccinated, provide a pathway towards the information that they need, like he says.
And I feel like there is still a solution everything that's going on, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. And I know that we're now like 19 months into this, but to stop complying and to say no, it's still just that those simple steps are enough to begin to change this. Because it's up to us. We're policing each other. It's the staff in the shops that are letting people in. It's the people on the doors.
True.
It's your teachers in school. It's your politicians.
True.
It's your shop workers. If everybody comes together and just says no.
You don't need to be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
You know? You don't have
So
to
we need to
complain to
empower
yourself.
other people to something as simple as take your mask off. I know it's so
That
simple.
sounds like an action, aye. I was just saying
It's
that.
still simple. I mean, England has got a vastly larger population. It's a lot denser than Scotland, and there is no mask mandate in England when there is still a mask mandate in Scotland. So just to tell people, you don't actually have to wear a mask.
And
No
I
one
think,
has to wear a mask.
And if you want to go to a nightclub, you can go down south. You can just go to Carlisle and we can all have a wee party down in Carlisle.
So what did you want to say?
I've heard from a few people, they're quite insecure about themselves.
Yeah.
So there's the insecurity part, there's the trend, and then there's the compliance of it. It's easy to do, so I feel like you need to think above that and really look at the health effects of what these masks can do and the long-term effects, because there's no long-term data suggesting weeks, days, hours into days and weeks the effects it could have, especially in children. So like Ashleigh says, all you need to say is no, and they can't prove that you're exempt. You don't have to show proof that you're exempt. All you have to say is no. It's that simple.
You may just need to have the goodwill not to reject knowledge if somebody is offering you some information.
Exactly. And we don't blame anybody that has taken a vaccine either, because there's been so much psychological warfare used within this.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
I don't feel like we're shaming on people or trying to make you feel low or anything. We just want to bring everybody on board. We're all humans, like I said, and this thing's so much bigger than unvaccinated and vaccinated.
Yeah.
The reality is that this video will probably most likely be seen by the unvaccinated. This will be shared in our community if you want, so it'd be wonderful if this could reach the vaccinated as well, but I think that's the responsibility of the groups, the small groups going forward, is they continue to, like Julie says, raise awareness, be visible, and do it as often as possible. But because we have got limited capacity, small groups, it's maybe a good time to see more small groups forming. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking you'd like to get involved, get in touch. The contact details will be on this video. There's more people joining Stand Up, Jump Earlier, Hold the Line. I'm sure I've got things coming up as well, so there won't be a shortage of things for you to get involved in. And if none of that meets your fancy, then create your own group, do your own action, fulfill your own responsibility. But any support that you need, guys like Julie and Ashleigh and Lee are here to help you.
I think what I was expecting. In matters that what can such a group is able to offer is love. I think we all have plenty of this, and friendship, and the feeling, plenty of cuddles, and we don't die because of them. But especially the feeling of being accepted and appreciated as you are, like more than a human being, like a true brother and sister, like a member of the family.
Like Ashleigh was saying earlier about the people that are really pulling the string, it's been going on for decades, and it's our parents or grandparents have been treated the same. And it's now brought down to the children, and like you say, love, you need to be given it. A lot of people are hurting inside, so everybody needs it. You need to remember that we're humans, social people.
I think people are not expecting very much to receive love, among strangers, people that they're just encountering. But look at us. I mean,
we met up today, and what was it like? You meet up to see the familiar faces, and there's a buzz, and it's a brilliant experience. And I would love to see you get into the winter, hot flasks of soup, and because this is as the challenge develops.
Alma brought cookies, Andy. Come on.
Keep them coming. But as this challenge gets worse, and it will be a dark winter, I don't think any of us are under any illusions. It will be a case of passing others leaflets, but passing each other resources that we might need. So these are the small networks that are going to see us through the long fight.
Yeah.
So let's see some more of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, all of you. If any of you want to add something to this?
We finish with a group cuddle.
Aye, absolutely. Well done, guys.
Good. Cheers.
Unite for Truth.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And